Right, these next few examples will actually be finding the same type of information as far as finding the trig ratios, but just kind of how we have to go about finding x, y, and r in order to make those ratios is basically the difference here. Of course, here it says to find the remaining trig functions because they're going to give you one of them, and then you just have to find the other 5, okay? All right, so first thing, since they're giving you one of your trig functions, that means you're going to know 2 of your values, like between x, y, and r. You've got 3 values, and you're going to know 2 of them strictly based on the trig function that they give you. All right, so what you need to remember is that cosecant, I'm just going to rewrite this so we can label it, is r over y. So since you're given the value of 13 over 5, then that means that you don't know your x value. We've got to come up with that. We know that y is 5, and we know that r is 13. Okay? Now, quadrant 2, the reason why we're going to need to know that in just a minute is we're going to have to decide whether our x value needs to be positive or negative, and knowing that we're in the second quadrant will tell us that. Okay, so if you're needing to find x, just go back to your Pythagorean theorem. Of course, we're using the one that's in terms of x, y, and r instead of a, b, and c. Okay, so we know that y is 5, so y squared is going to be 25. We know that r is 13, so r squared would give us 169. Subtract your 25, so we get 144. So x is equal to plus or minus 12. Now I know when I was finding r earlier, we did not ever worry about the plus minus, but we were told r is always positive. But as you could see on those previous examples, x and y can be negative depending on what quadrant you're in. So you're needing, you have an x value that's either positive 12 or negative 12. But if you're in the second quadrant, the x value for any point in the second quadrant has to be negative, because you have to, like when you're plotting a point and you move from your origin to get to your second quadrant, you have to move to the left. I mean, just doing a rough sketch right here. I mean, this right here is your second quadrant. So you immediately have to move left, which makes x be a negative number. So I know that I need to identify x here as negative 12 and not positive 12. Now, at this point, you do the same thing that we were doing earlier as far as just finding all of your trig functions. Okay, so I'm going to start with sine. Sine is y over r, so that's 5 over 13. Cosine is x over r, so that will be negative 12 over 13. Tangent is y over x, so 5 over negative 12. Of course, cosecant was the one that was given to us, so we don't have to write that one again. Okay, so next I'm going to do is secant, so that's r over x, so that's 13 over negative 12. And then cotangent is x over y, so that's negative 12 over 5. Okay. All right, next one. This next one's basically doing the same thing, just giving you another look at it. Okay, so this time you're given your value for sine. So sine is y over r. Now, Of course, the way that this is typed, using the slash here to indicate the division, like instead of writing it vertically. But you know, sometimes you'll come across fractions where the negative is just written in front of the fraction instead of being, you know, written definitely with your numerator or your denominator, which is, you know, definitely what you can come across. So what you've got to be careful with in this case, when you have the negative sign just written in front of your fraction, is where does the negative sign actually belong? Because you know, you can move it around. It could be that it belongs to the numerator. It could be that it belongs to your denominator. In this case, you know that it's got to go to the numerator. One reason is because, or the main reason that would let you know, is because r has to, remember, always be positive. So therefore the negative has to go with the square root 3. All right, so I don't know x. I'm going to have to come up with that again. I know that y is negative square root 3, and I know that r is 4. All right, so we can use our Pythagorean theorem again. Okay, now y squared. So if I take this and square it, I'll actually have a positive 3. Of course, square the 4, I get 16. So x squared is equal to 13. So x is equal to plus or minus square root 13. So again, we've got to decide whether we need to go with positive or negative. You're in the third quadrant, so actually your x value and your y value are both negative in your third quadrant, so we'll go with negative square root 13. Okay, so now we're just ready to make those ratios like we've been making. Of course, sine was the one that was given to us, so we don't have to start there. We'll start with cosine. So cosine is x over r. So that'll be negative square root 13 over 4. Tangent is y over x. So that's going to be negative square root 3 over negative square root 13, which is just going to end up making that positive. Okay, cosecant is going to be r over y. So that would be 4 over negative square root 3. Secant is r over x. So 4 over negative square root 13. And finally, cotangent, x over y. So negative square root 13 over negative square root 3. So that'll end up being positive.